and welcome to the Honey Follow Your Bliss podcast, where self discovery and spirituality meet. I am your host, Spiritually Key, and if you're tuning in, then you're in tune and exactly where you need to be. So, how are you all? Amazing, I hope. I have so much to catch y'all up on my community, my babies. I know y'all aren't babies, okay? But I still think of y'all in the sweetest way. And everything and anything that is dear to me, I make it miniature for some reason. So y'all are just gonna be my babies, okay? But I am so sorry for my absence and the disconnect here, but I was still being spiritually prepared for more fully following my purpose here. And, I guess it required me to make some decisions, even in my personal life offline, which I'll soon share on. But for now, we're just going to discuss a little bit about where I found some clarity so far. Because one word, let me tell you, perspective. And perspective is everything, right? And so that perspective has revealed to me my most transformational release yet for redefining freedom on the journey through essentially the eyes of unconditional love. Last we talked, I previously discussed creating balance between our spiritual and material worlds as part of advice I share to support us in taking risk. I explain kind of these different practices and guidance for engaging our mind, body, and spirit that we can use for holding the frequency or being a vibrational match to our manifestations. Because energetically, in the spirit realm or quantum field, like does attract like. And, sometimes we may want to manifest something, but we have blockages either in our mindset, the body's energy centers known as chakras, or even spiritually as soul lessons, which can be unconscious and only you can learn from. So feel free to go back and check out that video as I kind of describe things that are in relation to beginning a new journey of my own into entrepreneurship. So, you know, through the things I'm continuing to learn about myself in making that decision, I just had to come back with an episode that really supports us gracefully accepting and perceiving change. Once you do decide to begin, a new journey, or in this case, recreate your life. So, a big part of accepting change in a new venture or adventure is releasing and letting go of illusionary or unsupportive barriers to our positive growth, which growth and change are one and the same. But I feel like we're presented with so many different aspects and so many different forms of what those are. It really be feeling like we're rediscovering them for the first time every time. So let's just talk about some that we can potentially expect. That way, when they arise, we're able to resolve and work through them, right? In the best way. So, the biggest ones I've experienced are going to be within those deeper attachments, whether it's people, places, or things, right? Because depending on our relationship to them, we can find ourselves assigning our power over to whether they succeed or fail. We can allow them to define our needs for security and stability, or simply just become dependent on them in one form or another as part of what truly is an experience to remember that you're the spiritual essence that fills any and every room, right? I'm paraphrasing quantum energy channeler Aaron Lyons, but this isn't to say family and friends and your quote unquote possessions aren't to be valued. But when you start to make decisions and assign or defer your aspirations based on this imbalanced attachment to or from other people in your life, then you make decisions that can really be unsustainable for you. And when done over years on end, or however long these painful cycles last, right, in our lives, you forget what you initially aspired to before you even went down this rabbit hole of trying to achieve something else for the sake of what may not even be meant to be. And so it's this sort of self sacrificing process, right? But, I'll share in this stage of recreating my own life what that looks like as it relates to people, places, and things. And, I've had to so far review releasing expectations and past issues or disappointments for truly understanding where there were blocks within my own positive growth. Okay. So I've mentioned in previous episodes, I found in shadow work old paradigms and remnants of conditions that were placed on my exposure in childhood to God. And they were surrounding religion. But recently I realized I was still maybe approaching my intentions to share spirituality here with the same unreasonable expectations I'd internalized from my exposure to God early on. So, within Christianity and the Bible, fearing God in the form of submission can be considered an act of reverence or respect. But based on my history within the faith, it kind of only led me to shrink or have certain high expectations of myself. And it's not about religion, because from a conscious awareness of life, nothing or no one here is truly the enemy, just teachers and projections of all of creation that's accepted here, right? So, what I found is those high expectations surface from the ego, and I had to release them for what I was creating here on the channel, okay? But also, forgiveness was relevant, because once I came to that understanding, it was through going back to free will and unconditional love that I realized, yeah, fear and doubt were projected onto me in my childhood. But after we identify those false beliefs, we should try to find ways to forgive ourselves and also the people who cause those things, with a knowing that we all spiritually signed up for the same journey, just to play different roles and learn different soul lessons. And so, I guess what I mean to say is, if you do share the perspective of us coming here to experience all of the aspects of fear and love, then you understand that people and situations are just presented to us to represent both. And in a multi layered way that we extract and analyze over a whole damn lifespan, to include being walking contradictions in many ways. Because though I can't necessarily hold myself to the Bible, Grateful, that gospel song by Hezekiah Walker, is definitely on my playlist for manifestation. So the point is, we do our best and we do what works from a heart centered place, which has allowed me in recreating my life in this season to slowly embrace the change in career as a next level of spiritual growth, which requires releasing expectations for others, myself, and these past issues. In one of my earlier episodes, even on transformation, I shared something along the lines of stepping up to own all parts of myself as it pertains to being in the public eye. But actually, this journey online has been more about rediscovering lost parts of myself. And, that's something that I feel like is a part of having released expectations. But it's a process of not only releasing expectations spiritually, but also creatively. So, in anything new that you do, moving from a comfort zone to a growth zone, so many of us, due to spiritually repressing or depriving ourselves, forget how to use our creativity and natural talents again. For me, after years of having presented myself publicly in a corporate space where there was certain decorum and ways of professionalism that didn't necessarily encourage individuality for me, I think to some degree it can contribute to limiting your transition in a creative space like this. So, I know in my last episode, for example, I shared some helpful ideas about working through where we aren't holding up certain commitments for what keeps us aligned to our aspirations. But what I don't ever want to do is unintentionally encourage perfection or bypass self compassion in anyone's emotional processing because of a transition that I'm learning through. So just know my intentions and my heart is always open and in the right place here for y'all. And we can just take it from there. Okay. But my point is when recreating your life, if your feelings change about anything, your reality shifts. And as part of the reality you're heading into, certain things may need to fall away. So it becomes a matter of being willing to surrender or give up those attachments before your manifestation's arrival or before your arrival to that next level of positive growth your soul is seeking. Okay. And I previously discussed surrender as part of being open to new possibilities. But before the new, we have to face the old, which some of that might look like, having to disappoint other people or abandoning the resistance to learning and accepting something new, and even addressing those facets of your shadow self to step into something higher and more fulfilling. It all just caters to this endless process in life for releasing and receiving. So, to accept the changes that come with new beginnings, we have to continue to rebalance our energy between the ego and the soul. And so, a few ways we can work through that is by, again, releasing expectations, any past issues, and disappointments. Allowing for grief from the person you used to be that kept you secure, safe, even in that outdated comfort zone. And then being able to practice gratitude, it transforms your mind from fear in whatever form to higher feeling states for higher perceptions of your reality. So you're feeling faithful, which is one of the highest states you can be in to not only feel connected, but also to have the energy to still act through the fear. And you can practice gratitude, whether that's keeping a journal dedicated specifically to the things you do have appreciation for, by communicating that appreciation to your loved ones directly, or simply setting out time to listen to uplifting music and guided meditations on being thankful. And of course, we want to practice patience. Give yourself permission to have this continuous learning mindset when you're recreating for unveiling more aspects of yourself in the new space or that uncharted territory. And just accept that learning is a part of the process, which brings me to share that even though I'm continuing, these long form discussions on the shadow and energy management for the pod, I am closing out Self Discovery Sundays as a theme. I just, I realized I need the freedom to share my inspiration and guidance in a way that simply can't be handled like other projects and commitments I've worked on. So, I did feel shorter form videos were helpful in getting out those direct messages. So I will work on more of those. But for now, I feel like this will allow us to get together as frequently as possible, especially while I roll out some surprise updates for y'all in other areas of my life. Yes. And, I'm just simply accepting the freedoms of recreating life to move forward with the channel and other entrepreneurial pursuits on my own terms with unconditional love. And I hope my experiences and guidance help you to do the same. The journey of your soul is truly about evolution all the ways we thought we knew ourselves, and then finding ways to accept when we and everything else does change. So, if this video has helped you in any way for thoughts on recreating your life or just starting something new and coming to accept the changes with that, please like and share and subscribe. remembering that when you follow your bliss, the illusion is next. And until next time we speak, love always, spiritually key.